Good morning and welcome to the 15-minute Chassidus Shir. It's only 15 minutes in quantity, but hopefully be a qualitative difference for your whole day. We're learning the Maima Anila Dei Tashin Chavov, and we're holding in Ois Vov, the fourth paragraph on page Reshu Tes, the bottom of the page. Before we learn inside, there are a few inyonim that I'd like to explain a little bit more. One is that the Yud Gimel Midas Rachamim, we say the 13 midos of Hashem's Rachamim. What are they? They are, first of all, it's a level, it's a madrega in a lakus l'mayla. And and it is a level of connection that Hashem has to the Yidden. There's a level of Ava, love Hashem has to the Yidden, and many different levels of Ava. And here we have Yud Gimel Midas Harachamim. Now, these Yud Gimel Midas Harachamim are an interesting level. On the one hand, we say the Midos Harachamim, and a Midah means a measure, and there's 13, Keil, Racham, V'Chanun, that we say in davening every day, and then Rosh Hashanah and on Yom Kippur. So you have these Midos. At the same time, it's that connection to Hashem that Moshe Rabbeinu elicited from Hashem in order to not destroy the Yidden. So they are a revelation of Hashem's unlimited, not limited, unformatted, not bahagbola, love and connection to the Yidden. So they come from a place in the Seder Shtalshlus which is higher than all the Olamus. And that's why that if in the Seder of Olamus it's possible that you could make a pegam, do a blemish, in many different levels, and the Yud Kevav Kev Hashem's name, different mitzvahs make a pegam in different letters of Hashem's name. In other words, that an aveira or a lack of a mitzvah would block the flow of divine energy into the Olamus. Yud Gimel Midas Harachamim come from a level where all the lackings could be filled. So that's why we invoke them Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur, because it's a connection to Hashem that's higher than the whole Seder Shtalshlus, a deep bond and connection, where when that shines through, it's an all-embracing, infinite love and care and attachment that Hashem has to the Yid. So that's one broad. It's not just a tool; it's an expression of Hashem's bonding, and that is what's called a madrega l'mayla. It's at the one hand, it's an infinite revelation of Hashem's connection. At the same time, it's in a way that that has a limit. Yud Gimel Midos. That's one aspect. Another aspect is when we talk about the midos themselves. The first one is Kael, and it relates to and resonates with a Yid. Why so? In particular, the Kael, because the name Yisroel, the Yid's name is Yaakov Yisroel, the high level is Yisroel. The name Yisroel is made up of three aspects. You have a Yud, Sar, Kael. It's made of Yisroel. The Yud is a letter shows on continuity, always. It's the grammatical Yud is for the future, an always ongoing process. That's the Yud. The Sar means prince, master, ruler, and Kael is the godliness that's within the Yid. So Yid's called Yisroel. So what level of godliness was in the Yid? His neshama. The deepest level of the neshama is that which is one and united with Hashem. And so the first of these Yud Gimel Harachamim, shining down into our world, into our spiritual, the energy of our spiritual world, it resonates with the other Kael, which is Yisroel, the Yid's neshama. So it's a natural bond. It hooks on to that naturally. See, the Yud Gimel Harachamim are an infinite godly revelation. Are they part of our atmosphere, so to speak? Are they part of the universe? Are they invested in our world in any way? So there's two general levels. One is that in order to create a finite world from an unformatted, unfinite Hashem, there's a whole system that you created in the spiritual energies until you have our finite, limited world. And the higher levels give life and energy to the lower levels, and they generate from a higher to a lower level. But they stay on a higher level. So where are they? So, the only place we have is this one, our universe. This is place. Time and place are here. That's what we can relate to. All the spiritual energies are within that. We call it a different dimension. So we find in the Torah, when Yaakov came in to visit Yitzchak, he brought in with him Gan Eden. When Esau came in, he brought with him Gehenna. There's a deeper reality, a deeper dimension of spiritual energies that there are in our world that we don't see because the body locks it off. Where are all the angels in the Olam Yetzirah, the Olam Bria? Where are all the neshamas after they've left the body, before they've come into a body? They're all here, but in a world that we can't reach, because we can only reach a world with our senses, with our body, with our five senses. At the same time, there's stuff in our world which is non-tangible. It's abstract. For example, ideas. Ideas are explanation of things: building, medicine, physics, chemistry, cooking. All these are ideas. Where do you get an idea? How do you reach an idea? You use your mind. When you want to grasp something in your hand, a pencil, a hammer, a fork, a spoon, you reach out with your hand and you grasp it. Hashem has created stuff that you can reach out and grasp it with your mind. They're called ideas. Where do they live? You can't grasp an idea in your hand, but you can with your mind. And the ideas are there. Hashem created all these different ideas, concepts. A tree can't get it, it doesn't have a mind. An animal can't get it, it doesn't have that mind to do it. A human being has a mind, has seichel, and that seichel which is the tool that you can reach out to grasp the ideas. So we have some level of or an aspect of something which is a non-tangible that's very much in our world, but it's a different dimension. So too, you have all the angels and all the worlds and all the spiritual entities are also in our existence, but they're unattainable because we don't have the tools, and the body locks off that revelation of spirituality. So when we say that on Rosh Hashanah Yom Kippur there's a revelation of the Yud Gimel Midas Yerachmiel, or as we now Maamarim was saying, there's a Yud Gimel Midas Yerachmiel revelation in Elul, the king in the field, that means to say it's brought in a more accessible way. Instead of being locked in to its own level, which is not accessible to us mortals on planet Earth, this now becomes more accessible. Hashem is, so to speak, pulled away some of the barriers, or brought those spiritual levels out of their natural habitat of being on a higher level, kept them with their same being and format and existence of what they are, but brought them more into our accessibility. So that if you're looking in Tammuz, it's not as accessible as in Elul. And it comes Rosh Hashanah Yom Kippur, and the 10 days between Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur, the Seres HaMechuvah, they're revealed much. What does it mean they're revealed? Hashem has put them into the level of accessibility. A little bit but different too, that if you have an idea that you want to grasp, that it just might be out of your reach because your mind's not broad enough to get it. As your mind expands, you could get it. Or Hashem might open the channel and bring it into the awareness of people. Like, for example, the explosion of the scientific world, the Industrial Revolution that took place. What had happened 100 years earlier or 1,000 years earlier? How come it wasn't accessible? Were people all of a sudden more brilliant? Or was it Hashem had made accessible these ideas from the astronomy to combustion to what we have today in the technological explosion? And so too the Zohar says that there'll be around the time of in the 1700s, that there'll be that time of explosiveness, of new wisdom, both in Torah and in worldly wisdom, which we had with the Industrial Revolution and then the revelation of Chassidus. There's a story with the Beis Yosef in Sfas. One night, he was learning with the Chavrus, and they came across a very difficult piece of the Rambam. They were struggling all night to understand this. Finally, in the early hours of the morning, they got it. They grasped it. They got it. It made all sense. On his way to shul, he heard some other young people also learning the same Rambam, and the Chavrus, one asked the question and one said the answer right away. He felt terrible. The elation that he had before having discovered this wonderful pshat in the Rambam flew away because he felt how these young people could get it so quickly, and it took me a whole night. So they told him, Min Chassidus, they told him it's not true. That's not the case. That's not how it works. This Rambam really was very deep and very abstract. With your mind and with your neshama, you were able to grasp it and bring it into the realm of being able to be accessible by the average person in this world. So once you'd grasped it and brought it down with your Avodas Hashem, with your understanding, because of your neshama, because of your broad mind, now it was accessible for other people to grasp it as well. And so we have in the month of Elul, there's this revelation of godliness which makes it more accessible. In other words, it resonates. It becomes something which can become more real for us. But one has to be in tune and want to get it. This avodah, it's not a natural pull. So this is a couple of things that will help in understanding this piece of the Maamar. And so we left off last shir where that the king, being the energy of the people, the inner life force of the people, but they don't always remember. He's in the palace, they're in the field. So he comes to the field, and everybody says, "Oh, I'm part of your kingdom. Yeah, you're my king. I'm part of your gang." In other words, who are you, the field worker? What's your identity? He says, "I'm part of this kingdom." And that he remembered now that the king came to see him. Before that, he was just working the field. He was trying to make a living. He was a worker. He was plowing the field. He was harvesting. He was doing all the stuff that he needed to live. He says, now the king came to him. Oh, so now he says, now who am I? I'm really part of your world. And so we'll learn a couple of lines. Bottom of the page. Al derech zehu ba'nimshel. Shehisarius l'tshuva habal yidei gili yud gimel midas arachim shebiyalul. This that the yid is aroused to do teshuva. Teshuva meaning connect to his source, connect to realize who are you. What's your identity? Remember that you're a yid and that's the whole of your being. Hol yidei hagili yud gimel midas arachim is misgala rotzim pnimi d'Yisrael. That's because the yud gimel midas arachim reveal the inner will of what a yid is. That's their focus. That's their function. Brings out what's the inner aspect of the yid's will. Okemoven gam ma'avur behemshech hamayma li'achre hamashal demelch v'sada, similar as the Alter Rebbe continues in his mashal. The Shem Kale, who reishes kol a Yud Gimel Midas or Mekirim or Klolusam. He goes on to explain that the Shem Kale is the first of Yud Gimel Midas and in the source and includes them all. So we'll continue this in Mitzvah Shem next year, and also work to explain that there's a new words we'll have the difference between Oyer, like Oyer and Seif and Shefa. We'll continue next time. Thank you for joining. Have a great day.